Guys, welcome back. Today, I am back. So welcome back. Today I'll be doing a video for the first time in a while. This is the YCL Season 7 Power Rankings, as you may have noticed by the title of the video. I haven't done a video in a while. Welcome back. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Yeah, YCL, if you don't know, is a league that I commission. I use that term loosely. I'm not participating in it this season, but I will be back, I think, for Season 8. I'm in 2 leagues right now, and I didn't want to take on a third. I've got a bit of a rule about not doing too many leagues, just because it takes up a lot of my time. But YCL is, it's special to me. Well, special, close place in my heart, guys. So, yeah, I wanted to do this to at least show some support for this wonderful league and all the people in it. So this is what we're doing. We're doing YCL Season 7 Power Rankings. As far as my own content, I'll probably return soon. I'm in the LET, let it be known, and I'm in playoffs for that, so I'll probably record those matches. My first playoff match is against Bruno, so that'll be cool. So maybe look forward to that. I'll probably record those. Let's just get going on this. So there's 16 coaches in the YCL here. We did a split draft, so 8 people per draft and 2 drafts, essentially. We basically let everything go. All is legal, pretty much. You got Houndstone with the last respects, you got your Flutter mains, everything. Did we ban anything? Like, you got Cyclozar with Shedtail, obviously no Koraidon or Miraidon, but otherwise we were just, let it fly and see what's broken and what's not. So it should be an interesting season. YCL, as always, has item clause, so that's something to consider. Only one item, like only one heavy duty boots could be brought per match kind of thing on your mods. So yeah, I think otherwise rule set is pretty similar to everything else. So let's just get it started here. I'm gonna have to turn off my webcam because I didn't make a little spot for it. But the very last team, you could call it, is the Gothenburg SPHEALERS. So I'd like to preface all this by saying I don't think any of these teams are bad. And obviously you still have to rank some teams lower than others. That's sort of the whole premise here. So this is Sven's team. And Sven is a really great battler, great drafter. But he decided to take a little approach where he only drafted brand new mons. And I think that probably restricted his choices a little bit. I mean, obviously it did, because he basically had to pass up on mons that he maybe would have taken otherwise, but he didn't because they weren't new. And he did this in LET as well, in the LET League of Extraordinary Trainers. So he's really getting his feels for the new mons in early. But yeah, so this is the team he has. I don't think it's bad. I think he did well with what he could have selected, like with the confines that he set for himself. So top pick Chen Pao, of course, great mon. And he has Terra Skeledirge, which is one of the better Terra options. Oh, I should have mentioned this. So Terra options are, so it's open Terra, okay? Like your Terra mon can be any type that you want, any game. And you get a budget of 13 points to choose up to 3 Terra captains. And the first, I think, 3 tiers are higher than 13 points. So Chien-Pao, for example, could not be selected as your Terra Captain, but anything 13 points or less can be. So there's only so many good Terra options, I would say, since a lot of them are not available to people, and Skeletor is one of the best. So it sort of pains me to put Sven last here, because it's actually a pretty good team. Like, he's been using Terra Skeletor very well in the League of Extraordinary Trainers, because it's amazing. Like, you can just wall anything you want depending on the matchup, pretty much. Having really good defenses, slack off, and unaware, and then just becoming whatever type you need to be to wall whatever specific threat. It's a fantastic mon, and it can snowball with Torch Song and become an offensive threat too. So I think his first 2 picks are really good, and then the rest of his draft, I don't know. That's kind of where I stand on it. SPHEALERS is good. I think it needs it needs to be able to Terra to be like excellent. So I think it's like decent without it. And you know, every mon he has its use. I'd say the only like bad mon is probably Spydops, but well, I guess I'll start getting into the notes, because I made a lot of notes about every team. Oh my. Okay. Well, all right. Okay, let's get into the notes here. So, the first note I had that his Dragon Fairy Steel Core is just Earthworm. That's it. That's the only part of the core. And not that I think that's like the end-all be-all of, like, I don't think you need to have that for a good draft. I just thought it was funny. But Terra Skeletor can become Fairy type, or, you know, Dragon if he wants. But it's very good at becoming Fairy and being a Fairy type, so it's not like he doesn't have those options. He doesn't have a flying type, but Earthworm does absorb ground moves, so it's not the end of the world. He's weak to some common attacking types, like Water and Ghost and Dark. He's going to have a hard time with mons of those type, but he does have good priority options with Palmot and Chien-Pao, so that's kind of nice, and Prankster Grafai. And Palmot is actually pretty good with, I mean, Revival Blessing's also not banned, and yeah, like being able to bring back Chien-Pao or Skeletor is pretty nice. Although one thing to note is if you Terra your Skeletor, it dies, and then you bring it back, it will not be Terra'd anymore. So that's one potential con in that plan. Next team is the Boston Red Claws. Now, this team I've got some problems with. I think it's got some good mons, okay? The main thing for me is that I think he botched the Terra captain selection, because Annihilate is right there, and he chose Noivern, Electros, and Oinkalone. Oinkalone. Guys, I don't know how to... Oinkalone, and I understand, you know, Noivern with Terra gets like Stab, Boom Burst if he wants it. Electros can become like a Steel with Levitate or something like that, which is kind of nice. But Annihilate, first of all, it does fall within the Terra budget. It was 13 points. And it's a mon that is just so much better when it's able to change its typing just for defensive purposes, because you want to be able to tank hits with Annihilate. And I think if he made Annihilate his Terra Captain, this team would be much higher on my list. But as it stands, it is number 15. Some of the things about this team, he has no ground type, so he just gets Volt switched on all day. There's a pretty big speed gap between Tinkaton and Noivern, which means base 110 Mons and higher can just run Adamant or Modest, which is not ideal. He doesn't have Rapid Spin, which is a shame because he has Glamora. So if he wants to get rid of hazards, he has to get rid of his own. It doesn't really have like an elite Mon on this team either. I would say if Annihilate was Terra, he would have won. But as it stands, like I think it's the only team on this list that doesn't have like one elite Mon. But he does have some strong pivoting options, and yeah, Terra Noivern is cool with the Boom Burst option, so I'll give him that. Next, we have the Nova Scotia Scyther, singular Scyther. This team is pretty interesting. You've got your Iron Bundle, supported by the Pinkerton. The Iron Bundle gets Quark Drive boost when Electric Terrain is up, so that's a nice little combo. Terra, Arcanine, and Sawsbuck. Not ideal, but it's kind of the best option that he had, probably. So I think my main problem with this team is he doesn't have a lot of ways to tank hits. Like Arcanine's probably his best guy, and maybe Garchomp. But like if he's going to be Terra Arcanining, he might want to use it offensively. It's hard to say. Like he could make it actually, you could actually make it a pretty good defensive Mon with Terra. So maybe I'll leave my words on that. But yeah, team's kind of weak to ground. And the speed tiers allows things for like Adamant Meowscarada, Adamant Chien-Pao, just because again there's a big gap between like Bundle and I guess Scyther. But it has great priority options and no real holes otherwise, I don't think. Like weak to ground, I think I already said, but otherwise pretty solid team. Next we have the Dundee Darmanitans. And this team, this is another Terra Captain issue that I have with this one. This team would be so much higher, I think, if he did either Annihilate or a Spothra for his Terra Captain. And I understand the appeal of having like 3 options instead of just 1. Or I guess you could have 2 if you did a Spothra. But those Mons are just, they go from like pretty good to above average when they're not Terra'd, and then to incredible when they have Terra. Like you're gaining like a massive threat. A Spothra can just sweep teams if it has the right Terra type. Otherwise it has to have a good matchup, and same with Annihilate, I would say. But I do like his team. Chi-Yu's amazing. And I think it's well balanced. Solid Fire, Water, Grass, and Dragon Fairy Steel cores. He's got both of those down. He has no ground type, so again, he's getting Volt Switched on, which is going to be annoying in certain matchups. No real priority either, but he does have Aqua Jet, Tauros. That's probably his best option. Honestly, the team's pretty slow, other than like until a Spothra gets some boosts. It's just not very fast. So he will have a bit of trouble with revenge killing, I think, with this team. He's going to have to rely on some Scarfers, which isn't always the best option. Those are my main gripes. And like I think it's good otherwise, and it just could be way higher, I think, if he did Terra Espathra. I think I would probably do that over Annihilate if it were me. Next, we have the Atlanta Talonflames. This team is interesting because it's really going to depend on how he plays it. You might notice it's very bulky, and I think it can work. He's got the 2 unaware Mons. He's got Wish support. What he's kind of lacking is offensive presence. But, so, he has offensive Mons. Obviously, it's got Iron Valiant right there, who's one of the best mons in draft. It can go special or physical, you never know. And just has like incredible coverage. And it's very fast. It's a great mon. But I think he's going to end up relying on Iron Valiant a lot of the time for offense. And yeah, his Terramons aren't amazing. Braviary and Bronzong, I'd say that's probably one of the weaker Terra combos that exists. Again, he could pick Skeledirge. I would highly recommend picking Skeledirge instead of those other two. And I would probably rate this team quite a bit higher. You're probably noticing a theme with all these bottom-ranked teams. Is I don't agree with the Terra choices, basically. That or they just have some other like large holes. But yeah, this team, I don't know, if he plays it in like a bulky offense style, like it's really, he could play this team well and do well, I think. But if he tries to go maybe offensive with it, he might have a hard time. But it's gonna be a hard team to break. The two unaware mons with Vaporeon as well, with the big wishes getting passed around, it's gonna be hard to break. Yeah. Next, we got Cold Summer Assassins. Multiple assassins. They're all assassins, really. Look at them. So this team is only really as high as it is because he has Fluttermane and Palafin. And those mons are really good. And he also, like, he's got Palafin in Rain, which is nice. And I love Tinglu as well. Like, I've never really used it, but I have seen what it can do. And the thing is just, it's like the bulkiest mon of all time. Like, it might be, I don't know, but it feels that way. So those mons I really like. The thing is the bottom like 2/3 of his team, they're all pretty whatever mons to me. Like you've got Scovillain with no sun, so I think that's a bit of a waste of a pick. That mon's good, but it has to be in sun. So, but I understand like he probably wanted a fire type and a grass type, and that mon covers both. So I understand the appeal. Terra Espeon is interesting. It can be, it's got the speed and the special attack to be a pretty good threat, I guess. Terra Beartic is also pretty interesting. You can turn it into a water type, and it already has Swift Swim, so it doesn't get liquidation anymore, but you could use Terra Blast for your water stab, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think this team's really going to get by on bringing Tinglu, Palafin, Pelipper, Fluttermane every week, and then just figuring out the other two mons, pretty much. Oh, another thing is he doesn't have a normal type, so he has to be a little worried about ghosts and Houndstone, but he has Tinglu, which is probably like the best option you could have if you don't have a normal type, as far as like taking ghost hits. And he doesn't have great hazard removal. Like you've got Altaria. Is that it? Is that just, oh, and I guess Espeon sort of deters hazards, but yeah. In a league that has item clause, so only one mon can have boots. Not that he's particularly rock weak, it's just, it's, I don't know, it's hard to get hazard removal in Gen 9 so far, until like Pokemon Home drops. So I understand not having many options, but yeah, you'd like to see another like Defogger, or at least like a higher tier Defogger, because it sucks to have to feel like you have to bring Altaria whenever you don't want hazards up, you know? Next, Team Tempest. Yeah, I like this team. It's got Dragapult, it's got Garganacl. Garganacl's a great mon. Garganacl, though, I think, believe it or not, guys, I think it should be the Terra Captain. I think if he changed it to Garg, because that mon just gets so much better when it can Terra into a better defensive type, it just becomes unkillable in certain matchups. And I know Covert Cloak makes Garganicle not as good in draft as it is on the ladder, but this team would be a little higher if Garg was the Terra Captain IMO. IMHO. Because Crocodile, I mean, I don't know. Crocodile's typing is already really good. Like, it's not something you would want to change a lot of the time. And then like Muck. Muck is pretty meh. But you know, this team has Dragapult, so that's pretty excellent. Also, Azumarill is really good in this generation because so many dark types got added to the game, and there was another reason that I really liked it, but now I forget. Let's see what else. He's got good hazard control with Corv. Corv's able to defog pretty consistently. He's got rocks on a couple mons, so that's nice. He has no normal type, so Houndstone will, quite frankly, murder him. So he better hope he never faces Houndstone. Oh yeah, speed tiers are an issue because you've got a pretty huge gap between Jolteon and Leafeon. So anything slower than Jolteon can run Adamant or Modest to a certain point, to like base 110 or so. And that's a lot of Pokemon, so that might be a problem for him. Otherwise though, I like this team. I think it's, you got the triple evolution combo, so that's always fun. Next we have Sydney Star Raptors. This is the Fluttermane team, one of them. Wait, was the other team Fluttermane Garg as well? Hold up. Oh no, it was Dragapult Garg. With Corviknight. Wow, these are pretty similar teams. As far as like the top three. This team's interesting because it has Cloyster as the Terra Captain, which I was just saying how good Garg is as a Terra Captain, but I could definitely see Cloyster, especially when you have Rotom as a backup option. That's pretty nice. But Cloyster is an interesting choice because you need very specific counterplay to Shell Smash Cloyster. You need to either like knock it out with a priority move, or like have an unaware Mon, or you know, if you have Quagsire, you're sitting in a decent spot against Cloyster, right? But if it's Terra Grass and has Terra Blast, then what, you know? So I find that interesting. Like it can Terra into a Ghost or something and avoid Mach Punch, stuff like that. So I think that'll be. I'll have my eyes on Harry's games to see how this Mon fares as the Terra Captain. Yeah, and like Fluttermane's amazing. The problem I had with this team is like his, I don't know, bottom 6 are all pretty like mid. Yeah, none of them are bad, but I mean he's got Houndoom, the premier Chi-Yu check. So there's value in Houndoom this gen. But yeah, none of them are that amazing. He does have good removal, he's got good pivoting, he's got good overall bulk, although he might struggle with ice and fighting moves. But yeah, should be a solid team. Next, we have the Athabasca MILTANKS. Now, this is the other Iron Bundle team. This team is very cute, you might be noticing. I think it's solid overall. I have a couple of gripes. The main one being, well, his ground and his dark type are both Krokorok. It's also his only Stealth Rock user. So he's gonna find that he wants to bring Krokorok to like most games, I think. And it's not a very good mon. So, yeah. I think that's probably the main problem on the team. Although, no wait, sorry. Toad's Cruel is ground type, right? Oh, well, part of my gripe is now relieved. Still not the best dark type in the world, and you do want Stealth Rock on more than one Mon, especially a higher tier Mon, ideally. But he's got Gallade, baby. You know, Gallade gets agility this gen, along with the sharpness boost, so that's pretty cool. I just found out about that today. So I probably would have argued to have him higher in our tier list if I knew he got agility. Good Mon. Toxapex sucks this gen, unfortunately. It lost Scald, it lost Knockoff, it lost Recover PP. But it's still good at tanking hits. He's got Dragonite, which is like the best Terra Captain ever, except sadly it's too expensive to be a Terra Captain. So he chose Mimikyu and Komala, which are, yeah, I don't know, guys. Maybe Gallade would have been better? It's hard to say. Mimikyu is interesting. Yeah, I guess his options weren't that great as far as Terra Captains go. Maybe Magnezone would be cool, actually, because you still get Magnet Pull and you can remove your quadruple ground weakness and trap some dudes you wouldn't normally be able to trap. I don't know, just throwing out ideas here, guys. Yep. Next, we got the Boston CYNDAQUILS. I like this team because it supports Iron Valiant pretty well. He's got the deadly ladder combo of Cyclozar and Grimmsnarl. I'm sure it's going to work in draft as well. You know, you set up screens, you go into Cyclozar, you get a Shed Tail off, Iron Valiant comes in, sets up and wins the game. I don't doubt that we'll see that happen in some of Incog's matches. Thing is, he doesn't have too much of an offensive presence otherwise. Like Venomoth is probably his next best offensive Mon. And like Venomoth does it pretty well, but not exactly the greatest number 2 choice as far as offense goes. But he's got a good defensive foundation. He's got the Don-Bron combo, Dondozo Bronzong. So that'll be pretty hard to break, even though they both kind of lack recovery. You're pretty much always putting rest on Dondozo, so it's not reliable recovery, but when you're as fat as that Mon is, it's pretty reliable. He has no ground type, but he does have Kilowattrel for taking those electric moves. So, yeah, that's not as much of a concern as it normally might be. He's got some good removal. He's got double Rapid Spin. Does Murkrow get... I don't think Murkrow gets Defog. Prankster Defog would be cool, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't get it. Yeah, those are my thoughts on this team. Next, we got the Nashville Nidokings. Is this number 5? I think this is number 6. Sorry, I didn't number them. But this is now number 6 on the list. I think Sylveon was his first choice, if I'm to understand that the order that his Mons are in or in draft order, which is wild because his team started off kind of slow and just like got better. He got Chi-Yu in round, was that 5? That's crazy. So he's got a pretty strong Dragon Fairy Steel Core with Sylveon, Goodra, Treads. Like, it's gonna be hard to break if he plays it right. And his offense as a whole is just scary. Lycanroc Dusk, Breloom, Terra, Gyarados, Chi-Yu, as I may have mentioned. Insane Mon. He pretty much has a 7 Mon team. The bottom 3 can be almost completely ignored. But I think he drafted well. Because yeah, even though you probably know you're gonna get 6 of a possible 7, Like, they're all good options, I think. So, main problem is that his fastest mon is Lycanroc at 110, but he does have two very good priority options with Mach Punch and Accelerock, so revenge killing won't be an impossible task for him. Terra Gyarados is a pretty interesting choice. It's probably the best option of what was available. Terra into something that would normally threaten you, or sorry, Terra into something that you know what I'm saying, guys. You get your Moxie boosts and you avoid KOs where you normally would be KO'd. Wow, very cohesive thought. Next, Trash Town THIEVULS. Now we're in the top 5. Dragapult Palafin. That's pretty much this team. That's why it's so high. Actually, this one's pretty similar to Sosa and the King. So what? Cold Summer Assassins, who I had near the bottom. They were, what was that? Fluttermane Palafin. But this team has a much better supporting cast, I think. You've got Amoonguss, who's a great switch in blanket check to a lot of mons. Iron Treads is really good. Very reliable spinner. You got Grimmsnarl, who with screens is just going to really enable Palafin and Dragapult to get out of hand quickly, I think. And I like some of his low tier picks. Knucklestack and Avalugg. Terra Avalugg specifically is pretty cool because that mon's main weakness is that it's an ice type, so he's fixing that up. And I've always liked Rotom. I know he loves Reboot. Bishmi is a very good Reboot user. So, yeah, I like this team. I think he can make it work. I think it's pretty straightforward. You know, screens, go into Pult or Palafin and kick some ass. Next we have the Virginia Victinis. This is Wreck-It Mike. This team's scary. He's the lone Houndstone team. Went undrafted in the other pool. I'll be very curious to see how this goes because I haven't seen it allowed in a league yet, like with Last Respects. So he's obviously got the Hippowdon backing it up. Because Houndstone has, what's it called? Sandrush, right? So basically the idea is you save this mon till last, you have Last Respects, which reaches a base power of 300. You're faster than everything in sand, and then you just, assuming there's no normal type, you just smash through everything. So we'll see how it works in draft. Teams that won't have normal types are going to have a hard time. Yeah. Otherwise, this team has... Oops, I had to pause there because my cats were being jerks. But I'm back, and I forget what I was saying. I think there was that he has other good bonds. Yeah, Terra Iron Moth is one of the better options, I'd say, of potential Terra captains in the YCL. Meowscarada's good mon. Friggin' Haxorus Espeon. He's got some good stuff. Okay. Top 3. We got my buddy Squid here, Lisbon ARCANINES. This team is pretty much Chen Pao, right? I think he's done an amazing job of creating a really good support system for Chen Pao here. Because what do you want? What do you want if you have a Chen Pao? You'd like hazards, he's got Glamora. You'd like screens, he's got Morgrim. Maybe some Shed Tail action. Maybe some Chilly Reception. He really has everything. Sticky Web. Rocks on, well, I guess Glamora has rocks too. Point being, Squid has a very like potential straightforward game plan every week, which is just screens, shed tail, Chen Pao, set up and win. No, it's not always going to be that straightforward, and he's a very unconventional player anyway, so I'm sure he's going to have some wild techs. He's probably going to bring special Chen Pao one week or something, but yeah, I just think this was a well thought out, well constructed team. He doesn't have great attacking options outside of Chen Pao. His best is probably Terra Glamora, who's like a decent Terra captain, but not amazing, but probably his best option given what he has on the team. Type synergy is good overall, but he is weak to rocks a little bit, but he does have 3 removal options, which is pretty luxurious in Gen 9. He's got Rapid Spin on Brambleghast and Cyclozar, and he has Mortal Spin for those ghost types on Glamora. He does have a bit of a speed gap there between Tinkaton and Cyclozar, sadly. Allows for some modesty and some adamance, but not the end of the world there. His lower tiers are kind of meh. Spidops, Camerupt, you know, Brambleghast. Could live without those mons, but they fill their niche. The runner-up here, Victorville Victini, coached by Spartan. Now, this team is pretty good. It's got a lot of things you might want in a team. His top 3 is really good. He's got Roaring Moon, Goldengo, and Azumarill. One thing I noticed about this team, actually, he did not want to lose to Chi-Yu. He's got like every Chi-Yu check in the game. Dash Bun, Azu, Roaring Moon, and Fire Tauros. They all resist the dual stab of Chi-Yu. So that was funny to me. But like beyond that, like small weakness to flying, but otherwise he has good synergy here. He's pretty reliant on Donphan for like hazard control, both setting up and removing, but Donphan is very good at the job generally, so I don't think it's really a problem. His speed tiers are great. He's got a Trick Room option as well if he wants to go like Rabsca into Azumarill. So I thought that was cool. Maybe even Toxtricity if you want. Terra Toxtricity is a good choice because you can go normal and get Stab Boom Burst if you want. Remove your crippling quadruple ground weakness. Maybe go Grass if you want. Yeah. Overall, I think this is just a strong team, and Revival Blessing is always a nice perk as well. Now, the final and number 1 team in the YCL, IMO. It is the Miami MALAMARLINS and Coach Tone. This team is actually quite similar to the last one in that it has Roaring Rune and Goldengo, but it also has Great Tusk and it has Terra Volcarona, which is insane. I look at this team and I feel like Tone must have had an extra like 15 points in his budget. That's how it looks to me. Gardevoir is a really good fairy. I think Oricorio is a great budget pick. It could be any, well, it has different type options. It could be any of the Oricorio forms. And it gets Quiver Dance now, which is really good. Yeah, just his top 3 there, plus Terra Volc. Like, Volcarona is one of the best Terra captains available. It's just insane. It seems really good. It's got great pivots, good speed tiers. What else here? Yeah, extremely threatening offensively. He's got the grass terrain option, but he also has a ground type that has an option that is not Earthquake, which is Headlong Rush, so that's nice. One gripe, he doesn't really have any priority, but Roaring Moon's fast enough usually to revenge kill most things. He's pretty reliant on Great Tusk for hazards and removal, similar to the last guy with Donphan, but this guy does it even better than Donphan, being Great Tusk. So yeah, I think overall this team is extremely threatening with the like when you consider the somewhat restrictive budget that the YCL has. This looks like a team I would not want to face. And that's that. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. And you guys should tune in to the YCL. I'm going to put all of their channels linked at the bottom. And upload day is every Saturday, right? Yes. Pretty sure that's correct. Anyway, guys, I'll probably be uploading videos again soon of me actually battling. So stay tuned for that, and see you next time.